Hey, it's Susan Wood, a loan officer here with Ideal Mortgage.
And I'm Gary May. And today we're going to talk to you about what really is a pre-approval. Just some conversations between friends here. Hopefully you get a little bit out of it.
What it's good for, who you should get it from, what it entails, and what it will do for you. So we were talking earlier about rescue deals. So let's say you're working with a lender and you go under contract, only to find out you're either not approved or you're not approved at the terms that they agreed to with you, or the monthly payment's actually way out of your budget because you never had a cost sheet prior.
Yeah.
So when you're pre-approving someone, we're kind of going to backtrack. Gary, when you're pre-approving someone, and this is well before they go under contract and you're doing loan estimates on house and stuff, when you pre-approve someone, let's say you had the conversation, you took the application, what are your next steps to ensure that you're setting the client up for success so that when they do go under contract, they know exactly what they're getting into, and you know that that pre-approval is good through settlement, the way it was set up at first?
That's a great question, right? Like a lot of clients don't really know what the process is. So that's really where, you and I come in as professionals to help them through that. And so it really comes down to asking good questions, having a good loan questionnaire that goes through what their goals are, what are they trying to accomplish, what's their budget going to be, and really going deep with them as they tell us their story and what they're trying to accomplish, right? Because once you do that, then you can really hone in on what they're pre-approved for. And they're going to understand, okay, what's my monthly payment going to look like? What's my cash to close going to look like? Things that, just getting a pre-qualification by talking to a lender or a pre-approval by talking to a lender isn't the same as really going through and understanding what's this house going to cost me.
That's what I tell clients, let's do the online application if you're able to use TAC and stuff. Like, let's do the online application so that we can get all of those boring questions like your personal identification information, your your employment history, your address history, the assets, all that stuff. Let's hop on a phone call so that we can spend an hour going through all of the things that application is not going to ask you. That application isn't going to ask you if there's any debt you wanted to get rid of. That's more important to you than having the lower monthly mortgage payment.
Right. Where's the down payment coming from?
Yes. Yeah. The application's not going to ask you if you're expecting more children. So you're hoping to get, a house that has one additional room, or you're working from home. So now it's not going to ask you the things that it's helpful for us to know. Even though we're not the realtor, it's still helpful for us to know what your goals are going through the search, because then we can customize your mortgage experience for you. It's just like, I feel bad when people, they really think it's just black and white. They think they're going to take an online application and it's going to go into an underwriter and they'll get a pass or fail. Like I tell people it's not a pass or fail. It's a fluid conversation. It is a get to know you sheet. And then we go over it together so that I can get to know you.
Yeah, of course.
And if I try to tell, especially first timers, but move up buyers too, like if you are here and you wanted to be here, that conversation, not just this little questionnaire online, that conversation helps us bridge the gap. And that's not something you're going to get with online lenders or even every local lender.
Yeah, and that's really, that's what a pre-approval is, right? Like a pre-approval is really putting together the plan for that client and that family of making this big, it's the biggest purchase they're going to make, right? So, when you're going through that, tell me a time where you've had this discussion and clients have really, realized, oh, I was either way under or way over on my expectations.
I have had, unfortunately, a lot of clients come to me after failed experiences with other lenders. That's kind of how I got my start in the industry, was just telling people, I don't need to be your preferred lender, but if you need a pinch hitter, I'll be there. I got the time, I've got the knowledge, I'll be here. And so I would have people come to me second, third, fourth try around. Because they were talking to lenders who didn't have all the local programs that we do. Not all local lenders have all the same home buyer programs, whether it's first timer or non-first timer or VA, like not all of them have the same programs. People don't realize that. We know Rocket doesn't. That doesn't mean that the person next door does though. So they might not have had the same local programs. They may not have gotten cost sheets. So like example cost sheets when they were shopping homes to see what that monthly payment breakdown and cash to close would be. So I have had clients come to me and say, hey, I thought I was approved with Vets United. I went under contract on a home. They came back after giving us a pre-approval and said our income actually isn't usable, although it hadn't changed at all during the pre-approval process. It was variable and my husband wasn't on the job long enough. So we have to do X, Y, and Z before we apply. They also did not give us any guidance on how to do those points though.
Yep.
So I guess we'll just rent. And they said, I just found you online. So like posting on Facebook and stuff. I found you online, saw you were local, and just thought maybe we'd at least see what's possible.
Give it another try.
Yeah. And like there's situations I turned around and I'm like, guys, you're approved. I don't know what that person's talking about. But this was this specific situation was one where it was like, no, this is all accurate, but this also is pretty clear with the guidelines up front that it wouldn't be doable yet.
Yeah.
But here's when it would be doable. 12 months on this specific job because of the prior history you have, despite a gap. This is when it would be usable. Here's the specific month and day that we can get you back in the loan process. In the meantime, let's do this with your credit to ensure when you get there that we can use they were VA, so like they could use every benefit that we had available here at Ideal. And
so you really put together a game plan for them.
Yeah, and what was so cool was like it was October of 2023, so they kind of checked in throughout the winter and into the spring. And what was neat was just like watching them take what we had discussed, take the things that I had spent my time speaking with them on and learning about them while going through some family changes themselves, moving back to the area and deciding to rent for that time. Taking that and using it to be successful that spring based on the exact timeline we discussed. And there are so many people that are just, they feel so defeated because they talked to someone and it was just a no.
Yeah.
Or it was a not yet, but not a not yet.
Here's
how.
Do. Yeah.
And no, we can't fix someone's credit for them. We're not credit repair specialists. We might be very knowledgeable in credit, but at the end of the day, we're here to do loans. We're here to close loans for people. So we may not be able to go in and remove items on their credit for them. We can refer people to do that, but we may not be able to speed up the time on the job that they have, but we can offer them ways and guidance, even if it's like, well, actually we need to buy a home right now. If the variable is an issue, what would happen if I went and got a full-time salary job?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we could move forward. So I just think it's important to be able to have those fluid conversations. And that's not what you're going to get when you do go online and you submit that application and you never have a conversation.
Yeah.
With
Circling back to the questionnaire, right. And really going, here's the application. How do we really get into the details of all that is what really is a pre-approval.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, now we're going to talk through all the nuances that, you don't know what you don't know. So working with a professional and working with somebody that you trust to help you through that process. I mean, I remember I had a client that tried to get pre-approved and they had credit repair they needed to go through, down payment they needed to save for, job history that they needed to get into. But they had that conversation with me and it made them feel like it was possible.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the best part is if you can help them feel like it's possible, right? And then they start checking off the checklist.
Yeah, it builds the momentum. Yeah, they finally are not just going in blindly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people that go in and they just start paying off collections because I got to get my credit up before I apply for a mortgage. And they come back and I'm like, well, actually, it would have been a lot better to it would have been better to pay down the credit cards with high utilization because those collections are so old they're about to age out anyway, or they're not really having an impact.
Doesn't even affect you, yeah.
Yeah, so because there are some, I mean, you can pay off the collection and it'll just keep the score the same. Sometimes it'll drop. So
right.
I would say this is why I based on what you had just brought up with, starting ahead, being in a place where really not in one aspect were you ready to buy a home. By talking to someone though, if you're thinking of wanting to buy a home, you should be talking to a loan officer even 2 years ahead.
Yep.
People think, oh, well, I'm not quite ready to buy, so I'm going to wait till I'm ready. Well, if you wait to talk to a loan officer, if you wait to complete a loan application, documents with us and get a real thorough, holistic picture of what we're working with and where to bridge the gap, If you wait to do that until you're ready to buy, you may be waiting another 2 years because of the things that need to be done. You may be waiting another 6 months.
Yep.
And I know that we talk about that a lot. Is like, don't wait to get pre-approved until you're already shopping homes on Zillow. But you don't even need to wait to get pre-approved, within a year of when you want to buy. The sooner the better, because we can help you really get your credit as high as possible, ensure that your debt to income ratios fit into whatever products would be best for you. Like if you're getting PHFA, if you're getting down payment assistance, you got to have lower DTI. So
all the nuances that go into getting the financing.
Yeah, and there's just things that you can't Google. Like you can't ask, ChatGPT, what do I do if I want to buy a home in 2 years? It'll give you some general things, but when you get to, it's like going to the doctor or calling the nurse line. Like when you go to the doctor and they can really see it, they can like look at all of your history and you as an individual and how you look that day. They can give you the best assessment to solve the problems. And that just can't be done in general terms, like with just browsing online.
Yeah, I always tell the clients ask me all the time, like, when's the best time to start the pre-approval process? I said, well, here's the thing. If you found your dream home tomorrow for you and your family that you were going to live in for the rest of your life, are you ready? And most of them go, I don't know. Then now's the time. Yeah. Right? Like
I love that. I'll probably steal that.
That's okay. You can use that one. You can use that one. That's good.
And people, I mean, sometimes I feel like people maybe think it's like it's a sales thing. Like, oh no, I want to sell you something. But we don't want to get people in mortgages they don't want. It's not fun for us. It's actually miserable. Realtors will say it too. Like, we don't want to be dragging along clients during the process. Right. We want to be helping people like accomplish goals, whether that's getting a home to start their family, whether it's getting a home because they're going through some family division and they really just need that fresh start and some space. Yeah. Whether it's downsizing because people have left the nest, whatever it may be, like we want to help you accomplish a goal that fulfills also an emotional and physical need for you. And if we're not selling something, this is not like selling phones. This is like, there's a lot of weight that comes with this. It's not a one and done. It will carry through our reputation forever. Right. And like, I just don't think people realize, when we go to sleep at night, we do have their purchases, on our shoulders, on our backs. And we don't want to be selling or putting people in mortgages they don't want.
Yeah, that's the whole thing too, right? Is like really understanding the client's goals and what they're looking to do rather than just selling them a transaction. It's a, like I create relationships with clients, right? And there's clients that come back to me for advice on everything. Yeah. Right? Because that's once you go through that pre-approval process and feel like you can, trust this person. Like, cause it's a big decision buying a, $300,000, $400,000 house.
Yeah. You have to work with somebody who has your best interest in mind. And when they're doing, hundreds of loans per month, like you're just a number. Yeah. You're a number.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, length of pre-approval, right? So you've probably had clients that came to you, got pre-approved
under contract the next day,
or came pre-approved, couldn't find the house that they wanted. Yeah. It's a year later, they're coming back to you. Yeah. So how do you kind of manage that with the client's process?
I've seen that a lot recently as rates have come down a little bit this month, because people hear the buzz and they're like, oh, maybe it is the right time. And so it's nice to be able to have them come back and say, hey, so like your file is expired, but I already know everything about you and your goals. So let's make sure that those goals are still accurate to what notes I had taken and what relationship we'd built back then, whatever conversations we had. Right. And let's talk about how the market has changed a bit. Let's update with the rates and see what your income is. Yeah. Do a quick update with them. Need to repool credit. We're do soft pool. So we're not going to have to put an inquiry on your credit. We're just going to do a soft pool, and I'm going to go ahead and just make sure you are where you were before. Yep. These are people where if they did the same thing with some of the big box companies online, the documents may not be updated. The credit may not get updated. And then they do go under contract, and now it's like, oh, what do you mean I don't qualify? Back to kind of where we were before. So with clients, it's important to just set the expectations with them. Like, yes, I know that we went through this process. Yeah. I promise if your ID hasn't expired, I'm not going to ask for that again.
But we do need more documents.
Yeah, but your bank statements and your pay stubs, I surely hope that you've gotten new ones since then. If you haven't, we may be dead in the water. It's just, just having that conversation. But it's a lot easier when you're refreshing it than the first time around. Just because the client already knows you, you know them, you have an idea about their family and their goals, their budget, and the pain points they were struggling with last time. That's what I always tell clients once we hop on the phone the first time. I have them do their application, work through some documents so that we can hop on the phone, have like a good, solid, long review call of whether they're pre-approval or lack thereof and why.
Yeah.
And go over like the budget and all those things we discussed. But I bring up to them, like, when you were applying for the mortgage, tell me what things you were worried about. Tell me what your pain points were or are. Tell me your concerns.
Yeah.
Like, that really helps you, again, make it this person's mortgage. I tell them it's not black and white.
Yeah, I always ask clients, like, tell me your story.
Yeah.
I really want to know what your story is, right? And hope that they get into, like, why are they doing this?
Right.
Right? What's the motivation? What are they hoping to accomplish? Right? And so if you can ask those questions at pre-approval, that really helps build that trust. And that's kind of like, that's why I do this, is so that I can find out what their story is, listen to them, and then help them accomplish their goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
like, legitimately opening doors.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's why I kind of accepted, I niched down. I was like, I didn't want to work with investors as much, not because they're not good loans, but because my heart was with families who are trying to accomplish some big change.
Yeah.
And that's because that's the season of life that we're in. And I think that's why it's also important to, like, find the loan officer, not just the lender, not just the company, but find the loan officer that fits you.
Absolutely.
It's like, you're in a different life situation than I am. Sam, Nick, they're in different life situations. Deb's in a different life situation. So I just think it's important to make sure, yes, your mortgage works for you, but also that the dialogue that you're having with this person, make sure that you can feel they get the concern.
Yeah.
They get what's at stake for you.
Yeah.
And you can trust them to have your back and do what's best for you. Because that's what I tell clients and realtors all day is like, I'm not a wizard. I can't do magic. But I promise you that if there's any way I can go to bat for your client, that's what I'm going to do. And that was part of my move to Ideal, was I felt I could feel that immediately, that if I needed to go to bat for somebody, I would have a team of people right behind me doing the same. Management would be doing the same the minute it came out of my mouth. And you just don't have that everywhere, not even locally.
Yeah, totally. Well, look, we really appreciate you spending some time with us. If you'd like to tell us your story and go through that pre-approval process and understand, like, how I can attain my goals, look, we're here for you at Ideal Mortgage, and we're local, and we want to hear your story. So thanks for spending some time with us today.
We want to hear your story, not just as a sales technique, but because it really does truly help us make your mortgage work for you. Thank you so much, Gary.
Appreciate it. It was good spending time with you.